Cool. Here we go. Episode 1. Ow. All right, everybody, what's going on? It's your boy JB, aka Mr. This Dope Home. You tuned in, first ever episode. Let's go. I just want to keep it real with you guys. I'm an interior designer. I've been doing this for quite some time, almost 10 years, and I have an embarrassing confession. My home sucks. I, like many other interior designers, we don't have the best homes ever. Listen, just to be real with you, me and many interior designers are plagued with the same exact issue. People assume, oh, yo, you guys must have the best homes ever. Your home must look like something out of Architectural Digest magazine, or just look like something super fabulous. You know, you got all the best furniture, you got the best finishes. The fact is, we probably don't. A lot of us interior designers, our homes look way worse than our clients. Our homes sometimes are dirty. Our homes are not kept well. I'll just be simply blunt about it. Our home does not live up to our taste. Our home does not live up to our aspirations. Our home is just a space we come in, we work, 40, 60 hours a week. We put in the work and we come home and we just crash. And the truth is, that is just not how your home should be. Your home should be a haven. Your home should be your safe place. Your home should be a sanctuary. Your home is the ultimate luxury. The truth is, I've always promoted that. I've always preached that your home is the ultimate luxury, but I gotta be real with you, I've been a hypocrite. My home has been a semblance of our taste, but it's always a couple years behind because we don't follow through on the designs. We didn't follow through on our vision. And we just rocked with it. We would just say like, hey, this is just our comfortable space to lay our head. And just the truth is, my home does not look that fly. And I'm just trying to correct course now. All right, so let me tell you about some issues with my home. Issue number 1. My home, my wife and I did not come up with the proper visual to communicate what our taste, our design, our aesthetic should be. We had an idea of what we wanted. We floated ideas, out loud. Here's the deal. I honestly think that this is probably the most important element that was neglected, because truthfully, like every client I ever work with, we always make a base point of just saying, hey, this is the vision. Just like you guys would create a vision board for whatever, for your year, for your life, you create a vision board. With a home, it's the same way. You should have a vision, a clear vision of what you want your space to be. And to be honest, I was being a hypocrite, and I did not do that for ourselves. I make every single client I ever work with give me some sort of starting point, and we never created that for ourselves, and we just neglected that. So let me give you a perfect example. Something as simple as a color palette, right? We never picked even a color palette. We just came in. This house had these like crazy, like nasty beige walls. When we walked in, I'll probably pop up a picture. It's this chalky, nasty, like gritty, like very yellow beige, but very pale color. And honestly, we rolled with that paint color for at least, 5 years before I even painted a single wall. And then, you paint one wall, we never really followed through and painted the other walls. We just kind of rolled with it. Big mistake. I implore you, please do not do that. Come up with an idea from the gate. And like I said, with the vision, I should have just said, hey, listen, this is the color palette I'm thinking. Listen to what my wife is thinking. Let's see what she's thinking color palette wise, and come up with some sort of middle ground and then roll with it. Paint is the simplest thing for you to change. All you got to do is just pick a palette, get the right finish, and roll it out. That's it. It's very simple. It's 1, 2, 3. But we often overcomplicate it because of a whole bunch of different external factors. What I will say is that we eventually did change our paint colors. We, ended up rolling with something that ended up working for the two of us. We ended up rolling with some paint colors 5 years ago that actually stood the test of time. Maybe not, I want to say it was about 5 years ago. I want to say it was like 2019-ish or so I painted. It was definitely before 2020. I know we painted some paint colors, and it was risky at the time. They're darker colors, very, this dark gray that's back here from Bear Cracked Pepper is one of my favorite grays. It's actually a really dark gray. It's not black, it's not indigo. It's somewhere in between an indigo and a super dark gray. but it has a little bit of this like bluish tone to it. It's amazing color, dark gray, almost black. But that's something we painted. We still like it, so we still roll with it. Issue number 2, we haven't put as much emphasis on what we want our home to become as much as who we want to become. So what I mean by that, you know, like I said in the beginning of this video, my big philosophy, big takeaway, I look at my whole worldview of interior design this way, is that home is the ultimate luxury. You know, we think about, when we hear the word luxury, you think about like luxury goods. You think about Gucci and Louis Vuitton and Prada and Fendi and this, that, and the third, Van Cleef, whatever luxury thing you think of. When you think about luxury goods are aspirations. They are aspirational. It's something that a lot of people are chasing, or they think that's the hallmark, that's the peak. And I think that we tend to focus a lot on aspirational items and not think about how our home should be aspirational. Like, home really is the ultimate luxury. It's the one thing you gotta come to every single day. It should be the biggest luxury. It should be the most plush thing. It should feel good, it should look good. Everything should be right about your home. And just the same way goods and items and brands are luxury aspirational items, I think your home should be the same exact way. My home is the Benz. My home is the Louis Vuitton bag, or the Birkin, or whatever you're into, you know. You guys, I'll make another video about this down the line, but fashion and interiors go hand in hand. If you are not a fashionable person, that's not a huge deal, but I will tell you that there is a direct correlation between fashion and interiors, and I will perfectly break that down for you down the line. Unfortunately for my wife and I, our home doesn't look anything like our aspirations and our goals. Our home looks somewhere in between like maybe 2% of that, and then like everything we were. I fear that many of us, our homes are reflections of who we were and not who we are trying to become. I think it's worth it to just really put it into work and make your home look exactly the way you want it to be, and it look like something that makes you want to really go after your goals, your aspirations, because you want your home and your lifestyles to match up. You see, for my wife and I, our home doesn't even come close to that. Our home does not reflect our aspirations, our goals, and to be honest, I'm on a mission to make sure that it does. Here's the third big issue. I think that we just tend to focus way too much energy and time and attention on our outward appearance, and we tend to neglect our home, because it's the one thing nobody else sees but us. My wife and I, we love fashion. We love fashion. Like, we're into clothing. I feel like we tend to think so much more about our outward appearance. Many of us go shopping all the time and go out to buy clothes, whether it be fast fashion, high fashion, low fashion, mid fashion, mall fashion, Walmart, Target. I don't care where you get your clothes from, right? We tend to focus on that because that's outward facing. People who don't know us, the people that are outside, they don't see our homes. So we tend to neglect our house. You know, we tend to look at our house like, oh, we'll get to it. See, I know for me personally, I'll go to the mall and go shop and want to get fly, look jiggy and all that, because I know other people are looking. Other people are paying attention to that. But then you think about it, how did that correlate to my home? My home is not the way I want it to be. For some people, my home as is, it might be cool. They might be cool with it. But for me and what I know, what I want to convey in our space, this ain't it. And I'm fearful that many of you are in the same boat as I am. We got all these fly clothes, we got all these fly jewelry, whatever the thing is, but then our home looks like a shell of that. Actually, there's another thing that I often say that I'm a hypocrite of. We'll have high fashion stuff, we'll have fly wares, but then we got cheap furniture. Like, come on, we should be doing better than that. Now I'm definitely guilty of that. Forget fashion. Right now, our home is the main priority. And I want to make sure that I create a space that feeds our soul and it's our safe haven. So all the fly wares and all the fly clothes, that can wait. I already got enough for me to wear. I don't need to go buy more. It's time for me to focus on my space. So why? Why did this all happen? So let me tell you, how does an interior designer have a space that doesn't reflect their tastes, their aspirations, their goals, their design savvy, obviously, right? How's that happen? Here's how it happens. Number one, most of us designers, we spend tons and tons and tons of time making decisions on other people's homes, other businesses, offices. We make design decisions ad nauseum. So sometimes you tend to put the things that you need to make decisions in your personal life on the back burner. So we procrastinate about our space. Well, we'll get down to, I'll make that decision later. We tend to prioritize our clients over even our own personal goals, values, design aesthetics, taste, even over our health. I know for me, I've done some wild, all-nighters, working day in and day out, crazy hour weeks to the detriment of my health just to make sure a project goes through. I know for me, at default, I tend to put my clients' needs ahead of mine. Staying up late, I'm working throughout the day, all day and night, making sure we hit our deadlines, making sure I get everything exactly the way they want their space. And I have simply neglected exactly what I needed for our home. I know my wife, she grinds and works. I know I'm grinding and working. And what has happened is we've constantly put our home in the back burner. Our home has not been the priority, which in turn means that we are not making ourselves a priority when we need to. So for instance, my living room sucks, my dining room is in, my kitchen sucks, our bedroom is trash, and my office is not the way I want it to be. Very simple. All right, so here's the second reason why designers tend to have bad space. We as designers often have plenty of ideas, but we don't always have the resources to make it happen. And those two biggest resources are time and money. So I'll give you an example. A lot of us interior designers, we're working with people who have bigger budgets than we have in our own budgets. For some people, they might not scoff at the idea of spending $8,000, $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 on a sofa. For me, I'm not there. I just don't have the budget to do that right now. I'm not that guy. Truth is, might fall in love with the idea, I want this $8,000 to $12,000 sofa that I will spec for a client who has the budget in a second. But now I'm obsessed with the idea of I need to buy that $12,000 sofa. No, I need to work within my budget. Having those resources are always important, and also sometimes for me, they have delayed the idea of, okay, I want to get this project done in my home because I feel like I need to wait until I can afford that sofa that I really see in this vision of mine. Ain't got time for that no more. And the other big thing is time. As a designer, first off, I work a 9 to 5 and I do freelance work after work. So oftentimes I have at least a 12-hour day. In the past, when I was doing strictly freelance work, those 12-hour days were very normal. Most of the time I was working between 14 to 16 hours a day. In that, I've neglected my space because I'm constantly working and making sure I develop something for my client. And instead, I need to be focusing on prioritizing my health first, prioritizing my sleep, prioritizing some social time, and getting my work done. So I'm working on creating a healthier balance of those things. More on that later. You see, some of us designers, we're really crafty. We know how to spend big budget money and we know how to handle smaller budgets. In that, you gotta have all the tools, resources, and know-how of, okay, what vendors can I go to? What stores I can shop at? But you gotta think about, we get exposed to so many design options, so many choices, so many fabrics and materials and finishes and different types of furniture and the whole 9 yards. A lot of times for us, our entry points on those things are very lofty budget things. There are things that are like crazy amount of money and we have to value engineer the design to fit within a budget. That's not an easy task to do. I haven't always had the time to be like, hey, I'm gonna figure this out. And that idea that I had for that cloud couch, that leather taupe cloud couch, I would love to have in my space. That's $12,000. I ain't quite got that right now. So maybe I gotta figure out a way to value engineer this for my own space. And finally, don't have great spaces is some interior designers, we just don't know what to do, We have design fatigue, as I've mentioned, and sometimes you say, dang, man, like you gotta think about this, right? Mental energy into our projects. The last thing is we wanna put more mental energy into our home. And I know for me, for the past, 6 years or so, I have been in this hamster wheel of go to work, make 1,001 design decisions and say, all right, when I get home, I don't want to even think about anything design related because I'm burnt out. It wasn't until recently I figured out a healthy balance because of job changes and things I want to do. And I'm really just finding that spark again where I'm like, I'm ready to go kill it in design, really go kill it on my space. I want to make my design of my home look amazing. And that was more in recent years because I figured out some ways and changes in my schedule to really have that mental clarity. And to be honest, I got a new fire in me about design that I'm really, really, really excited to kind of show and communicate and teach you guys along the way. You gotta think about, we see so many cool products and new ideas and new things from 1,001 different places, and sometimes it's just hard to decipher all that information and say, okay, I'm gonna synthesize all this information I've been learning into one design for my own space. We are hypercritical about our client spaces. We're gonna be even more hypercritical about permanent decisions we're making for our own space. Ultimately, what ends up happening is we end up neglecting our own home, and our home never becomes special. And we just have this humdrum place that we come in, we go to sleep, we watch TV, we eat, and we just go back to work every day. That ends today. All right, let's figure this out. How do I plan on fixing this issue? Number one, the paint gots to go. The icky, beigey, white, chalky, nasty, tingy yellow paint, no bueno. No, I can't do it. I can't do it. No. First off, understand this. They painted the whole apartment, this beigey, chalky, white thing. I painted over probably 50% of it. But in the kitchen and in our restrooms, they used the same color paint in a high gloss. It's terrible. So number one, I'm gonna paint throughout the house, all new paint. There won't be an ounce of that beige anywhere to be found. The paint don't look good in any capacity. It gotta go. I'm getting rid of all of it. No bueno. Secondly, I'm updating all the surfaces in the space, all right? So in my kitchen and in my restrooms, they have this weird like fake granite paint, polymer finish thing on, I don't know what to call it. I think it's like some sort of adhesive that's supposed to look like a granite that they lay on top and cut around it. They put them in these apartments. That's getting out of here. I'm getting rid of all of that. No more fake granite. I'm gonna replace it with something else that's fake, of course, because this is a rental, it's an apartment. But it will look much better than what they have put in this space already. I already know, I'm convinced it's gonna look better. Hey, listen, I don't use the word hate that often, but worse than hate, I loathe the surfaces in this apartment. Here's another thing I plan on doing. Decluttering. The clutter gotta go. Get it out of there. After living in a space for quite some time, you start to accumulate and get things and add these little knickknacks. Both my wife and I work in industries where we get a lot of little freebies and a lot of little things. And I don't know why. We know it's junk when we bring it in, but we still bring it in the house and think we got some sort of use for it. Like, so I'll have these like little wire holders or different bottles. And long story short, all the free promo stuff, it gotta go. We got tons of stuff that we have accumulated in the past few years that when we first moved in this apartment, please understand something. We were broke as a joke when we first moved in the apartment. We barely had furniture, so we barely had things we brought in. Somehow I'm busting out the seams here with a whole bunch of stuff that we have no business even having. Like, this stuff gotta go. It gots to go. So another big thing is decluttering. So yeah, for all those things we've accumulated over the years, like all those little knickknacks, a lot of it is we're going to be trashing it, but the other thing is we have to create some storage solutions. There's not a lot of storage in this space, and what I'm realizing is that we just need to buy storage solutions that are going to help keep things better organized and declutter the space. So there's going to be some trips to whether it's Target or Container Store where I'm going to figure out what I need specifically to help properly store things that are in our home, just so the space can look better and look more organized and clean. A lot of people come over and they feel like, oh, our house is super organized and clean, and me and Ego are like, nah, this ain't what we think is organized and clean. So I'm going to show you guys what I plan on doing to make this like ultra streamlined and look really good in here. Our kitchen. So our kitchen lacks counter space. I want to say our whole kitchen may be like 10 by 10. It's a very small kitchen. We only have maybe 6 feet worth of actual usable counter space. So we have an espresso maker, normal coffee maker, ice machine, air fryer, and our Vitamix. That's appliance wise. And then we have our knife block and a drying mat and whatever like containers for like cooking, like sugars and flours and things like that. Way too much stuff on the counter. So I have an idea what I want to do, but I need to declutter that counter space. All right, so another huge source of contention for my wife and I has been our flooring in our house. We hated the flooring out the gate. It's this like fugazi, limestone, vinyl, linoleum-ish, 12 by 12 tiles, right? That are at our entryway, kitchen, and the restrooms. Floor planks or floor tiles, they started peeling up, right, on the edges. And they're thick. And I tend to walk around without my shoes on, right? I like my feet, hitting the ground. Can't tell you how many times I have nicked, cut, or scraped my feet on the edges of this linoleum in this house. But the thing is now, the peeling of the planks, sort of tiles, were starting to catch dirt from, you know, from cooking, well, not dirt, but like, let's say you cut up something, a little piece of food falls on the ground. It's catching all this dirt, catching all stuff. So then eventually it started peeling up enough you could see underneath it. And all it was floor planks on top of linoleum that was here existing prior to. The whole situation is janky. How do we fix that? That'll be one of the first things I'll show you how we fixed. But spoiler alert, we already took care of that. All right, so here's another thing, window treatments. So the windows in our apartment came with these vertical blinds that most like efficiency standard apartments have. Here's the thing, they're god awful, they're awful. Over time they warp, they break, the blind will fall down, it cracks, they get all jacked up. They don't work for us and they don't work in this house anymore. Long story short, they gotta get up out of here. Those blinds gotta go. And the thing is too, is they change color over time because of sunlight and just from conditions in the space, they just get jacked up over a little bit of time. So I wanna get those up out of here. All right, so another huge issue in this home is the lighting, all right? Here's the thing, you might be thinking, oh, this is probably plenty of light. Understand something, I have lights for this video. If you look straight up in my ceiling right now, there's not a single overhead ambient light, all right? This apartment is an older apartment. At the time when the apartment was built, they were not prioritizing lighting. And unfortunately, a lot of people still don't prioritize lighting. I will touch on that in a future video. This living room is probably, I wanna say, like 22 by 15. There's one ceiling fan that's on the far end of the living room that hovers over the dining room table. And that's it. There's no other type of ambient lighting in the space. Not a good look. I put in different light bulbs and there's just not a lot of good lighting. The lighting that came with the space is just these yellow, nasty, hazy lights. Long story short, I plan on addressing all the lighting in here. Ambient lighting is gonna get changed. Accent lighting is gonna get changed. Task lighting will be addressed. We're gonna fix this lighting issue. Y'all gonna fix y'all lighting issue too because y'all gonna learn through me. When it comes up this apartment, there's only lighting in 4 locations. There's the lighting in the living room, there's lighting in the kitchen, and there's lighting in our 2 restrooms. Notice I mentioned there's 0 ambient lighting in my bedrooms. It's not a huge issue because I'm not trying to do a lot with our actual primary bedroom, but my other bedroom is what I use for office space. And I need much better task lighting in that space. So this is probably one of the more interesting aspects of things I need to change and tweak and address in this space is our furniture. So when we first moved into this apartment, we didn't really have a lot of furniture. We didn't have a dining room table. We had a sofa we bought previously, probably like a year or 2 previous to us moving here. And then that was it. So, oh yeah, we had a bed we had bought when we were living in an apartment right before this. Other than that, the furniture we purchased since then, I'm actually not that mad about. Some of the pieces need to be updated or upgraded. So there'll be some furniture updates coming down the pipeline. I need to buy new furniture and incorporate old furniture, which is gonna work out really lovely. I kind of got a real good idea in mind, so just stay tuned and you'll get to see the play-by-play on how I make that happen. All right, so staging, that's another thing we need to work on. So staging, just generally, I just wanna make this space feel better. I want to have a better flow within the space. I know it's so funny because whenever I talk to people, they're like, oh, they always like ask me questions like, how do I get a better flow? And like, it's all subjective. It's really depends on how you're trying to entertain or how you're trying to live in your space. That'll dictate how everything works. I'm making some changes around the house that'll help us get better spacing in our home and really just so we kind of get a better flow. I want this place to feel good every single time I walk in. I don't know if you can tell, I'm getting a little excited even thinking about it, but you'll see. I promise you, you'll see. I got something for you. And here's the thing, with the staging, it's gonna be really, really, really important in my office. The reason why is because my office is ultra multi-purpose. I have my desk in there for me to edit videos and do my work. I have my DJ equipment in there. I also use that as my closet, so I have closet stuff in there. I have some other things in there I also wanna plan with the space, so it needs to be multi-purpose. I have a lot to do within that space, so stay tuned. My goal overall for our space is that I really, really need to make this a multi-purpose space. It needs to be somewhere that allows us to live, but also be able to engage in our creative endeavors. This YouTube being, part of that, so I need to have a space I can record at. I need to have a space that I can work at design-wise. I need to have a space I can DJ in, take my wife's photos, whatever it might be. So that office space is extremely important, and my living space is just as important because we want to be able to have a work and a play space in our home. All right, so another big update I'm definitely gonna have, there will definitely be some decor updates. You know, once I kind of get the canvas proper for the painting, I will then add some brush strokes to the painting, so to speak. And I really just want to make this place feel really cozy, peaceful, but at the same time eclectic, and has that what I call urban chic style. If somebody asks me what's our inherent style, I'm pretty sure my wife and I will say urban chic. We're both bougie, just to be real. We're bougie on a budget. I think we both want the place to feel luxurious, but feel comfortable and lived in, not feel standoffish and feel like I don't want to even sit down in my space. Like, I want people to come over and enjoy the space. I want to enjoy the space more importantly, but that's where I'm at with it. So yeah, there'll definitely be some new decorative items, some new decor pieces, little abstract figures and painting, and new throw pillows and new throws. I got a lot of ideas, but I promise you I'm gonna fuse it all together really nicely. So another big thing that I have to address is plants. This space needs life outside of my wife and I. Plants, simple enough. And the truth is, I owe it to myself to have plants. I always wanted a space with a lot of good plants. My mom is the ultimate green thumb, so she's gonna be playing coach. So any information she gives me, I'll make sure I convey to you. But there are definitely some plants I already purchased and plants I plan to purchase to help make the space feel even better and feel lived in. I think it's very important to have some sort of nature in your home. I feel like it's mandatory. It's not even important. It's just mandatory. Finally, some random repairs. I just gotta get it done. I just gotta say, hey, look, I'm gonna work on this. I need to take care of little scratches, dings, dents, holes, stuff like that. Truth is, I should have been taking care of it, but you know what? I'm gonna just give you this analogy, right? You bought a brand new Benz. You get in that Benz every single day. It's your little baby. If you're gonna sit in that car every day, you're gonna notice every little thing. But the second you see a little hole in that seat, you're probably gonna say at some point, this don't look right, and I notice it every single day. And I need to go take it to the dealership and get this worked on. That's how I need to treat this house. I need to treat it the same way. When I see the little ding and dent, don't put it off for a distant day, distant week, month, or year in my case. It's time to address the issues in the house. Let's just go ahead and fix them. All right, and another big thing is just some non-controllables. I have shower doors. My wife and I, not a huge fan of shower doors. I have a plan on something I might do to address this. And another big thing is I have a lack of privacy on my patio. My patio is exposed to like the whole complex, it feels like. So I'm gonna try to address that with some ideas I have when I work on my patio space. I will try to address most of these issues, but as I said, these are non-controllables. I can't get everything. I can't fix everything. I can't fix it all. I don't know, but for me, I'm just not a huge fan of my home. I'm not a huge fan of how it feels. This home should be amazing. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing what I had to say about my space. I hope you got some insight how I feel about my space and just some things I'm planning to change and work on in this rental. Maybe you might want to come along this journey and see what I have planned to do for this space. Listen, if you're in the same boat as me and you want to go ahead and improve your home and make your home the ultimate luxury, or maybe you just want to be nosy and see what I'm going to do to jazz this place up, right now, scroll down, subscribe to my page, go down, subscribe right now. Make sure you like and comment on my page. Comment anything, comment any questions. You could drop a little home emoji in there. I plan on bringing you plenty of dope content week after week. I'm about to go crazy. I'm very inspired. I want to make sure that you guys are coming along this journey and having fun with me, and I can just share my design knowledge as I can. I will do some other things outside of my home that are design related. I might throw some non-design related content on the page. I don't know yet. That's the beauty of this YouTube thing. I'm just gonna go out and do my thing. I'm gonna be me. And I hope you guys enjoy it, have fun with me. I mean, if anything, you get to at least see my pretty face, you know what I mean? Like, I think I look pretty good right now. Like, I don't know, y'all tell me. Anywho, thank you for watching This Dope Home. Love y'all, peace.